Hi, my name is Pete Brander. I'm the #1 success coach in Thailand, and I show guys how to unleash their full potential. So I was reading this book called Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, and these are the things that I picked up from. So immediately when I was starting to read the book, I found out that it was very important to have a vision in life. As Phil Knight said, when he graduated college, he said he wanted to have an actual vision to actually import running shoes from Japan into America. Like the reason why he said that, and that resonates with me so much, is because he actually saw himself getting shoes from Japan and importing the shoes in actual America. Because it comes back to self-belief. If you actually believe that you can see you actually achieving that goal, you will find the work that will allow you to achieve that kind of dream. So he actually said to his dad that I want some money so I can go travel the world, but his main focus was just to go meet potential investors in Japan, and at that time the company was called Tiger, which many people did not notice, me myself included, because I just thought Nike started from the US and had nothing to do with the Japanese. So like after he graduated his college, like his bachelor degree, he actually asked for money to go travel, and his dad referred him to his dad's friend, which they are currently in Japan right now. So they actually met up, and this is where Phil first pitched his bigger vision to his dad's friend without knowing what the outcome would be. But Phil saw it, that Phil could actually do it. So after Phil resonated, let's say the 22-year-old Phil was sitting next to his dad's friend and say, "Hey, I got this vision. I want to be the first American importer of running shoes from Japan." And once then he was intrigued by Phil's the imagination, and they referred him to the founder of Tiger. So once Phil got to Tiger, Phil said the same thing. I wanted to be the first American importer of running shoes, and they decided to actually talk for hours, as stated in the book. And then he closed the deal that he got 50 running shoes that they would send to him once he was back in America. So like meanwhile, when he was traveling, he was selling encyclopedias with his friend. He feels like it wasn't something right because he was too focused on selling his running shoes, because himself was an actual runner, and he likes to run so much because if you have that runner's mentality, right, you know like how fast you actually run. There's actually like one quote that I posted on Instagram. I just have to go back and look it up. But then when I was just reading this book, let's say it was like mid page 20 or something, this quote really got to me. That's why I had to pause it and write down this quote here. I found it. "Running is hard, it's painful, it's risky. The rewards are few and far from guaranteed. When you run around an oval track or down an empty road, you have no real destination. At least none of that can be fully justified the effort. The act itself becomes the destination, putting effort into it. It's just not that there's no finish line. It's that you can define the finish line wherever pleasure or gain you describe the act of running. You must find them within. It's how you frame it. It's how you sell yourself. It all comes back to yourself. If you have that goal, and if you can see it happen, people will invest in you, not invest in what you're trying to sell them. Because if you don't truly believe in your own idea, what would you expect other people would believe that you can't sell? Because like if you can't sell yourself, how am I going to sell my idea to actual other people? So other people must see that you're actually worthy of your own idea. So this quote continues, every runner knows this. You run and run miles after miles, and you never know why. You tell yourself that you're running towards some goal, chasing some rush, but really you run because of the alternative, stopping, which scares you to death. That is really true because as like why do I work out? Because I just want to improve myself. I want to be my better self. I do it just for me, not for the people around me. Because but then it comes back to it resonates with me again. It's like the importance of having a deadline and having a clear goal. Because if you're doing something without no deadline, there will be no pure motivation, and that probably like the entrepreneurial mindset that I keep trying to encourage people to think that there is another way of thinking. So back to the story where Phil Knight actually met up with the Tigers investments, right? And then afterwards, he got that 50 shoe deal from actually Japan, and then it didn't like the shoe didn't come right then and there. He had to write a few letters back to Japan, asking them, following up, telling them, where are my shoes? I thought we made a deal. And then like eventually those shoes came back to him, and he had a very and he felt that he was doing something right. But then as I was reading this book, he was only at least 23, and the matter of fact to have that kind of vision at 23 and going to Japan by himself without no friends, just him and himself. That's what I got. It just fascinates me that the environment plays a big factor as well. But like what if he stayed in America? What if he got his degree in fucking accounting, right? He got an accounting degree. He knew all about the numbers. And then, like, in the actual book itself, there were times that he actually felt down, and he said maybe this Nike thing would not work because I'm not, but like, would not work, although they are making sales and shoes are selling, but they still have debt because they are trying to pay back what they have ordered from Japan, which is Tiger, right? And then in this book, he said he found like another investor that would help him in the long term, which helped them clear up their debt. It's a very fascinating book because it gives you a full insight of how Phil actually started. It wasn't an overnight success. That's why you see Nikes all over here. That's why I have my Nike box right there, because I just wake up and now I knew how Nike actually started, which would be inspiring me so much more. And as I wrote down, it doesn't matter how old you are, if you have a clear, definite goal. I keep saying this, like, just do it. And there you go. That's their Nike slogan. And one thing that very differentiate Nike from all the competitors back in the day, probably right now as well, is because they don't focus on the actual shoe. They care about the people who are wearing them. Let's say, for example, when you see that those Nike advertisements, they rarely talk about the shoes, but they focus more on the greatness of the athlete. For example, LeBron James, Serena Williams, and how great they can be with the shoe. Because then it tells the people that if you wear our shoe, the chances of your own ceiling could be that great compared to those athletes that are trying to promote. But what if they came in, our shoes are the best shoes, wear them today. Nobody would give a shit about Nike, because Phil was smart enough to actually reframe the whole thing and focus more on the athlete rather than the actual shoe. Because if they actually focus on the shoe, there would just be a regular shoe importance of creating a team. But it all started with one guy, which is Phil Knight. And the amount of pitching that Phil did in the book was quite fascinating, because he had to get people like Tiger Woods, LeBron James to actually sign with Nike, although there was Adidas like already out there in the market. And people don't realize that, like, you have all these athletes representing his brand, like the Nike swoosh, which came from his inspiration, came from the actual trip he went to Greece. People don't realize that it was all him pulling the string, but he didn't want that kind of that kind of fame. But actually, people would come to him like later on after they went public. It's like, you believed in me when nobody did. That is a pretty deep concept, because if you resonate that, if you think about, like, all these athletes before they are who they are today, nobody actually believed in them, but Phil saw the potential that he could do something. That's why he went in and say, please wear our shoe and good things will happen. And that's why you have athletes right now, all the top athletes are representing Nike. And like one good thing that I learned from this is that surround yourself with like-minded people. The environment plays a big factor. Again, I mentioned to Ari in yesterday's video that it's very, very, very important. If you think about it, the environment plays a very big factor. Yeah, so that's about it. That's what I learned from the shoe, though. I recommend you getting it. If you like these kind of videos, give this video the thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I am Pete Brander, and you just learned how to achieve Phil Knight mindset. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.